I got something special for you guys. I'm pretty much going to go into detail of how to scale from 0 to 20K per month, from 20 to 50, and from 50 to 100. And if you don't know who I am and you're new to the channel, I specialize in helping the credit and funding industry to scale to six-figure months by implementing the exact same marketing systems that I help my company scale from 0 to 300K per month. Okay, so let's talk about it. If you're completely at zero right now and you're like, okay, I want to start, what are the things I need to look out to get to at least to 20 or 30K per month? These are the few things that you absolutely need or you will never be there. So primarily the two things you need if you want to get to 20K per month, 30K per month is a marketing skill and a sales skill. Those are the two things you need. If you could get those two things, you can scale to, almost six-figure months by yourself. Okay, so we need a good creative, which is creative is an ad, and we need at least a good sales skill. So 0 to 20 is purely mainly about the ads and about sales. So if you're now right now at 20 or 30K per month, this is the reason why. You still don't know how to attract clients consistently, which is the marketing. And if you do attract those clients, you're not closing them at a consistent rate. So for the ads point of view, we need a 1.5 CTR. Now, if you don't know what these things are, I could kind of cover it a little bit right here. So if you've never seen an ads manager before, or if you have, you can see it right here. It's pretty much a campaign. You got the ad sets and you got the ads, right? On the campaign level, which is this one, you pretty much have either a DM campaign or a self-booking campaign. You can pick, doesn't really matter. I've seen people scale with either DMs or straight to via cell funnel. But essentially, you have an ad set. You can put at 30, $50 a day, right? And then wait to you can have three ads inside the ad set and then wait a couple days to see which one has the best KPIs. For example, I will turn this two off because the CTR is under 1% and the cost per result is $32. Here, the second one, the CTR is under 1%, the cost per result is 20. And then the best, ideally, KPIs you wouldn't have is a 1.5 CTR, the higher the better, and a cost per result from $3 to $15. This would be the best case scenario. If that's the case, you can turn all the other ads off and leave this on, and you can keep scaling that one. Okay. If you're doing a DM campaign, all you got to keep in track is what is your link percentage sent. So, like, let's say you're having a couple conversations in the DMs. What is the link to send percentages, which should be above 50%. So you can kind of understand how to, like, once you understand your KPIs and your numbers, you can be like, okay, if I do this much, I'm gonna get X results. So let's say your cost per DM is $10. We spent $200. We have 20 DMs. We have two links there, two qualified leads. So after talking to 20 people, we found two that are really qualified. We send the link out. So that costs us pretty much $100 per qualified lead. If our booking rate is 50%, then one of them should book. So based on that, you can be like, okay, so I need to spend at least, let's say, $1,000 if I could get five people to book a call with me or whatever. Even though those KPIs are a bit too high, but I'm just giving you kind of round numbers, all right? Now, what are the KPIs you really want to look for? I kind of said before. If let's say if your cost per message is $10, you want to put at least 3 to 5x of the cost per result. You want to run the ads for at least 4 to 5 days. Then you turn it off depending on the the CTR and cost per result. You want to optimize for at least 30 to 50 conversions. That's what I was saying. If no less than 15, so you got to spend at least 3 to 5x. If you can't optimize to 30 to 50, you can go to a lower KPI like cost per DM. That's why I was saying 3 to 5x. So if your cost per DM is $10, put it at 30 or $50. Okay. I kind of already explained this a little bit. So if your cost per DM is $15, put it at 3x. It'll be $40 daily, or 5 will be 75. Okay. So 3x or 5x. The time I kind of already talked about a little bit about the time, but a new creative, like let's say if you're testing brand new ads, give it at least 4 days, and then after the four, max I would say 5 days, then you start turning things off. Okay, like I said, plus one CTR, cost per result, the lower the better. Okay, so that's pretty much on the ads point of view. You need to make an ad. You need to drive that ad into a funnel. If it's self-booked, like a VSL, it will look something like this. So you can just send traffic to a page that's gonna have pretty much the headline, the VSL, and the link to schedule the call. That's pretty much what you need. I'll have some testimonials here and there, but you get the gist. These are the two things that you need. Ads run into a page or a DM, your DM, or to a landing page. So that's just to get people on the phone. Once they're on the phone, you need to have them to show up, have a consistent show up rate, at least 80%. So people, you're not booking calls and they're not showing up. That's very important. If you need more detail on how to get people to show up, I do have covered that more in our school community, so you can join there. And if you don't have this landing page or funnel, you can also hire us to build it out for you. Either DM me on Instagram or join our school community that we offer it there. Okay. So once you have that built out, once we have the ads, then you can start running it and then getting people to book. And then the second most important thing you need to make this thing work is a minimum of 30% closing rate. Yes, you can do it with a 20%. Yes, you can do it for 25, but you're walking on thin ice, because depending on how much cash you get down on if they do split payments or not, it will dictate if you're profitable that month or not. That's why if this is the goal, if you get to 20 book calls a week and you have a 30% closing rate, you will hit 6-figure months. Like, there's just no way around it. That's just literally how it is. I've done it. We've done it over hundreds of times with different company. If you want to scale to 6-figure months, try to get to 20 book calls. But right now we're talking about just getting from 0 to 20K per month, which you need a lead, a traffic source, which for us we use Instagram and Facebook. You can start whichever one. Make it creative, upload it to the ads manager, drive traffic to the landing page or your Instagram account, get them booked, and then start closing them. Simple as that. I know it's very simple. It is more complex than this, but this is all you need. You just need a good ad and a good closing skills, and you can get to 20K per month. If you're not here, this is the reason why you're not there at 20 or 30K per month. Because I put 20K on the low end, but if you have a good creative and a good sales skills, you can easily start touching 20 to 30, like, no doubt. It just at the end of the day, when we're selling funding services, you're selling it at 5K, 6K. We even have some clients charging 10K for their funding services. So that's just 2 deals per month and you're already there. But you need to have the consistent flow of leads and you need to know how to close them. If that's not there, you're pretty much screwed and there's no way you can scale the business. Okay. Now from 20 to 50, this one things gets a little bit harder. And honestly, you can by yourself, you can get to the 50K per month. You're just doing everything yourself. It's very possible. We have some clients that are doing 40 to 50K per month and they're doing everything by themselves. But if you want to scale beyond that, if you want to start touching 50, 60, 70, 80, even 100 and a consistent, pace, this is the part that you need to start hiring, because your schedule, I will show you here in the bottom. Once you're at 20 to 30K per month, the biggest constraint on your business is going to become time. You don't have enough time to take a lot of sales calls, onboarding calls, and then results calls. So your calendar, see, when you're first starting off, you're doing the funding, you're doing the messaging, pretty much the booking, the appointments, you're the front desk, you're the sales, and you're the results part of the business, right? So you're pretty much doing discovery calls all day, sales calls, and you're doing onboarding calls and results calls once you close them, right? So your schedule starts looking like this. Sales, like let's say you start running ads this month, and this is one of the days you book, let's say 20 calls or 10 calls that one day or whatever, or spread out through the week, right? Doesn't really matter, but you have just sales calls back to back, boom, 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 which great. Once you start closing these people, the week after, let's say you're working from 12 to 6, that's like the calendar, open slots in your calendar, right? The first week, you're going to have a bunch of sales calls. The second week, if you actually have a 30% or 25% closing rate, you're going to start closing some of those deals. What's going to happen is that then you're going to have to do onboarding calls, fulfillment calls, and all that good stuff, which is a really good sign. That means the business is moving forward. But then what happened is you're completely restrained by time. There's no way you can... you could put more time. You can maybe start doing like open up to like 8 o'clock. You get me? You can have you can open more slots and you can just work longer hours, which is, you could do that. That's not a bad idea. But you can only do it for so long. At some point, I said this a couple of times, your brain turns to mashed potatoes because you're on a Zoom call back to back having conversations, and sales calls take a lot of energy from you. So you're gonna be going back to back, and you can probably do this for a month, maybe 2. At the 3rd month, you're just like, God damn, I can't take any more of these calls. It literally takes a toll on you. So that's when you gotta start looking into hiring. You need to start delegating at least the fulfillment calls. At least, if you still do your own appointment setting, you still doing your own qualifying, try to find a partner, try to find somebody that can at least take care half of the work for you, so you can focus on actually just bringing revenue into the business. So this is the main problem most people have between 30 to 60, 50, around there. They have a time constraint problem. Like now they need to hire. There's no other way for them to grow. So this is a really good problem to have. But when you're here, if you can't scale past the 50K mark, 30K mark, 40, around there, that range, it's time for you to hire. So what are the two things the two key employees you're gonna need? Well, I will, if you, the funding one, if you can find somebody to help you with the funding or the results of the business, that'll be ideally the best one to hire first, even though it might be harder to find that partnership. It might take you a month, 2 months, or 3 months, who knows, average, depending on your network and how social you are and how many connections you have and all that stuff. But if you can hire a setter, somebody to qualify the appointments for you. And how we pay the setters is 4% of cash collected, $25 per book call, and then $50 per qualified book call. We know once it's qualified when you talk to the lead. So this is the two employees you're gonna need if you wanna get beyond that 50K per month, because like I said, you're gonna have a time constraint, and it's just gonna be very difficult for you to scale when your calendar's from 12 to 8 o'clock and you just slammed with sales calls, and then when you start closing them, it's going to be pretty much 50-50 onboarding, fulfillment. So you're going to be stuck at that same revenue for months if you don't start hiring somebody that could do the onboarding, right, and to get the clients reset. So after you close them on the call, so I'm gonna put you in contact with our client success coach. He's gonna show you the whole process. He's gonna want to get you funded. His name is X. Are you ready to move forward with that? Once the pay wants to join, I do it on the call. I go from a call to a call. So on the call, I'll be like, okay, you ready to start the onboarding process? I introduce them to who the hell they're gonna be talking to. They're like, oh, who the hell is this guy? I show them the link where they could book. I onboard it myself, kind of like a mini onboard. It takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes after the sales call, and then they could start getting onboarded with your client success coach, and then they could take it from there on. So you can put all your time and energy into marketing and sales, because that's going to be what moves your company forward. All right. So if you want to scale beyond the 30, 50K per month, this is the part that you need to hire. You need to either, if you could get a set or two, it all depends. If you have somebody that you don't want to be qualifying the calls, you don't want to be talking, or you don't want to be doing the DMs, yes, get a setter, and they could take some of that load off of your back pretty much. But honestly, the most important one that you should hire is a client success coach, or just a partnership. If you can partner with, let's say, somebody that already has a lot of experience in funding, and then they could just cover that side of the business for you. For us was Jack McCoy. Like I'm really into the marketing, he's really into the funding, so we kind of partnered up together, so he could do all the funding and I could do all the marketing. Okay, so that type of partnership will allow you to have more time back and just focus on sales and marketing, which that's the thing that's going to grow your business. All right, now 50 to 100, this is when it gets, I would say, easier. Not hard, but it will get easier, because once you have, okay, I have the ads are running to the business. They're working, it's going good. They're getting book calls. I'm closing them at 30%. Then all you need to do to scale from, like, let's say 50 to 100 or 40 to 100, it just double your KPIs. Yes, your profit might drop by a very small percentage because cost does get a little bit higher when you're scaling, but you're good. Ideally, you want to get your budget, your daily budget of ads. Let's say if you're spending $100 a day, you want to raise it to at least 3x of cost per book call, so you can start getting 3 calls every day. So if your cost per book call is $200, you want to get it to the point of the ad budget to spending $600, $800 a day, so you can start booking multiple calls a day. That's literally it. It's scale the ad budget onto pretty much the business break. Ideally, you want to scale to cost to acquire a client, like, right, cost to acquire a client. Let's say if your cost to acquire a client is $1,000, ideally you want to scale your ads to $1,000 a day so you can get a sale every day. But before that, I would try to scale to 3x, 2x, 3x of cost per book call. Once that's working, you can pretty much, especially if you have a 30% closing rate and you're booking 3 calls a day, you should be able to close 1 person. It doesn't mean that you're going to close so many every day, but when the week ends, it should be averaging to like a person a day if you're booking 3 calls a day. All right. And then on the KPIs is track, cut the fat, do it again, track, cut the fat, do it again. That's literally it. 50 to 100 is almost 100% just tracking and making sure the KPIs are on point, because you already fixed the time constraint of, you have your funding, you already fixed the client acquisition, you already fixed the sales. If not, you wouldn't be at 50K per month. Once you have a consistent lead floor, once you have, you're confident that you can book them and close them, and then you have somebody onboarding them and pretty much offboarding them, getting the results, that you have all the ingredients to start scaling to 100K per month. Now what you need to do is pretty much look at your data tracker, which if you don't have a data tracker, we do offer our own. We have all this system that if you do want to purchase it on separately, you could join the school. I'll have the link below, and then you can just buy this thing separately. Facebook is off tremendous. Sometimes it says that it gives you a result or like a book call, and in reality it didn't. It's another ad. Sometimes it says cost per message is $15, but the reality is 30. Facebook could be it's an incredible tool, very accurate, but at times it could be completely off, and your data might be off by 20 or 30% just because you're reading off Facebook and it's not really the real data. That's why you need to track your data somewhere else. You got to use Hyros and you got to use spreadsheets to track all your data. I have videos on this. You can check it out on the channel, but you won't be able to scale to 6-figure months with Ads Manager. It's gonna be it's gonna be a bad time. I promise you. You need a way to track the data consistently without like a data tracking source or in Hyros. Almost impossible. You're gonna spend so much money, and you're gonna be blowing half of your budget is probably gonna be going to the right thing. So I cannot emphasize it enough. If you're already at the 50K per month, 30 to 50, the next step is literally really tracking your KPIs correctly and then scaling to those KPIs. Like I said, if your cost per book call is 200, you want to at least spend 3x of that, so you can start getting 3 book calls a day. And if you get to there with a 30% closing rate, I'm telling you, you'll be at 6-figure months. Now, from 100 to 300, this is where it starts getting difficult, just because you need to have technically 3 pods. Let me not get over myself. So if you want to go from 100 to 300, it's just duplicating the systems that you have, the pods, the sales pod, just 3 times. So let's say you're 100K a month and you have 1 salesman, 2 setters, and then the client success here in the bottom, let's say, right? If you want to just scale to beyond that, you just got to build that team that you build for the first, you got to build it multiple times, right? It sounds easy, but it's actually very hard. Let me say this. The majority of the problem from 0 to 100K months is marketing, sales, and tracking the right data. That's all. If you want to scale to 6-figure months, you need a good lead source. You gotta have a good closing rate, and you gotta track the right data, and you could do that. It's. I know people. Oh my God, that's so much money, and they overcomplicate it. But in reality, that's all you need to scale beyond that. It becomes a recruitment and management company. Like that becomes the main concern of the business. You need to learn how to hire. You need to learn how to train, and you need to learn how to deploy those employees into your systems and get results. Which this part could be very difficult. It could take you a month, 2 months. Who knows how long it could take you for you can find a salesperson that like, okay, this guy is cracking. He's hitting home runs. Let me keep scaling with this person. But once you get there, this will kind of become almost the KPI you should be looking for. Each pod should be generating 90K minimum. They could do a little bit higher. Like me personally, when I had 2 setters under me and I was on one of those, let's say I was one of these persons, because I was doing my own sales for a very long time because I had the highest closing rate. I was bringing just by myself and my 2 setters almost 150, 140, but my closing rate was like 47. Sometimes you get to 50% closing rate, so it's very, very high. That's you gotta know what the hell you're doing to get those KPI. I'm not saying that's impossible. I've taken almost 1,700 calls on the funding side, so like I just got the skill of talking to these people and getting to close. But each pod should be making a minimum of 90K, 15 to 25 sales per month. 25 sales is on the higher end, it's a little bit difficult, but it's totally possible. The cost per pod and ad spend should be around 10K. That's what I've seen. And this not only for my own company, but for the people that we help. If you spend 10 to 15K, you should be able to hit 100K per month, okay? The sales pods, pretty much, the closers 8%, the setters is 4%. So you can pretty much say that one pod will cost you almost 15 to 60, 16% of commission. So it'll be 6,000, total 16K, average profits. So that's pretty much how it should look. This I'm putting it very simple, but this is part of the hardest part. The reason why I haven't scaled beyond to $1 million per month, or I haven't even gotten there, the max I've been able to do is like 370-ish, because I just need better team. And like once you have all these team members, once you have savages on your team, it makes it much easier to scale. So that's it for the video. I hope you got tremendous value of what do you need from which revenue, from 0 to 20, from 20 to 50, 50 to 100, and 100 to 300. Sounds simple. It sounds easy, but I'm telling you, just because it's simple doesn't mean that it's easy. It takes time. But I'm telling you, if you're following these things, this is the exact restraints that you're going to come across your company from each revenue level. I've seen it hundreds of times. We already scaled over 200 companies. Some are even doing $500,000 per month. The lowest client is doing about 30K per month, and they're trying to figure these things out, the things I'm really talking about. All right. So if you're in the credit space or in the funding space and you're trying to scale your business 6 figures, this is exactly what I do. I just specialize in helping credit and funding companies scale to 6 figures. So if you're somebody who's maybe stuck at 20K per month, 30K per month, or even just 10K per month and want to start scaling to 30, 50, even 100, book a call with us. We could implement all the system for you and start helping you scale your business.